Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I'm going to be talking about specifically Keyforge and how Keyforge shines a laser, it points a laser directly at Magic Gathering's absolute weakest element of the game, which is land. So Keyforge shows the biggest problem in Magic the Gathering's design, the problem that now after 25 years is a significant problem within the Magic the Gathering game that has been completely removed out of Keyforge. So let's talk about it. All right. So just want to give my bona fides here. I played Magic Gathering from the very beginning. I was in Lancaster, Pennsylvania when the game released in 1993. I literally saw it delivered to the store, broken out, and I watched as a few other people bought a few packs, started busting them out, built decks, and started playing. And within that day, I couldn't buy it on day one because I didn't have the money. But a buddy of mine sent me a deck home, right? That deck contained one Mox, right? And ever since, Magic is huge, right? But I've also played from the beginning of Keyforge. I saw right away exactly how important Keyforge was going to be. So I feel like I have a unique perspective. I played these games from the beginning, and I've played, and so I'm familiar with both games. All right, so let's talk about it. All right, the issue of lands in Magic the Gathering. So, one, I want to just talk about how Keyforge dealt with lands. So, with Magic the Gathering, you're going to create a deck. Single color decks are incredibly unpopular, and one of the reasons why is when you build double, triple, quadruple, 5-color decks, it is incredibly difficult to make the land base give you the lands you need, right? Now, Magic the Gathering has done a lot to make this work for players, right? To make it so that they can play these multicolored decks. But all of the options they've created are subpar if you don't spend top dollar on dual, triple, or all land, singular lands that give multiple colors of mana, all right? So here's the issue, right? In a single color deck, in Magic Gathering, you're going to run 21 lands, right? In a double, you might run 22. In a 3-color deck in Magic Gathering, you need to make sure you have an absolutely robust mana base. And what is the exact number you would run for a 3-color land, or even a robust mana base for a 2-color deck in Magic Gathering? Well, the exact number is your deck is going to have 36 cards, and your land base is going to be 24 cards. If you look at Keyforge is a 37-card deck. One card in that deck is the Archon. The Archon card has absolutely no equivalent within Magic the Gathering. You can remove that. That is special. It is new. It is unique to Keyforge. But that other 36 cards, that is the creatures and spells and artifacts that exist within a Magic the Gathering deck. And what you're looking at when you look at a Keyforge deck is you are looking at a Magic the Gathering deck from the perspective of creatures, spells, creatures are creatures in Keyforge, right? Spells are actions in Keyforge, and Magic the Gathering artifacts are artifacts in Keyforge, right? It is very exact, right? And there really aren't any cards that break the model of Magic the Gathering within Keyforge, except Keyforge has removed completely the lands from Magic, the lands that exist within Magic the Gathering, and this has made Keyforge a much better game, right? Because one of the things is, when you are going into your declare phase in Keyforge, you are choosing the cards you will be able to play. You can never play all the cards in your hand unless there's a really extreme circumstance, or unless you have all the same house within Keyforge. So that ability to choose your mana source and say, I have full mana for every card in my hand that comes from this house is massively important within Keyforge, and it makes the game run much smoother than Magic Gathering, in my opinion. All right. By the way, if I haven't said it, I think Keyforge is a better game than Magic Gathering. The reason it's a better game than Magic Gathering is Richard Garfield, I believe it's my opinion that when he built this thing, he came to kill what he created. I think Keyforge was designed from the ground up to defeat Magic in the CCG arena, right? And of course, Keyforge is now a unique deck, which is not a unique deck product. It is not a CCG, right? It is different, but that's another subject. All right, so let's stay on let's talk about the ways that Magic the Gathering lands just absolutely crushed the game and have caused immense problems within the game. Okay, so one, mana drought and mana flood. Yeah, I can't go through an FNM without hearing somebody go, I got mana droughted, right? Now, they don't use the word droughted. I'm using that because I don't curse. But they'll say some spicy language in that right there. Or mana flood, which is when you have too many lands. And this happens a lot in Magic the Gathering games where you just don't have the mana you need to play the cards in your hand, and nothing is more painful in a game, right? So how do you solve this problem, right? Well, the way this problem is solved is there's three ways. One, you could just grit your teeth when you lose, right? Nobody wants to do that. Two, you could do the traditional fix for the mana problem within Magic the Gathering, which is spend top dollar to buy on the secondary market the exact dual and triple and quadruple and omni lands within Magic the Gathering that will produce 2 mana from one card, 3 different types of mana from one card, 4 different types of mana from one card, and omni all different types of mana from one card, right? Now, this is what really pushed me to non-competitive play within Magic the Gathering. I play Magic the Gathering, and I believe I am competitive, and I do the best I can to win. But I got 4 kids, and I'm trying to put them through college, right? So here's the third way, right? So one, in the second way, you can pay top dollar to get those lands. The third way is the way that I do it, right? I use the uncommon duals, triples, quadruples, and omni lands within Magic the Gathering to give me those strong land bases. The problem is all of those cards come in tapped, and there's no way to untap them when they drop. They are slow, and I consistently lose at Magic the Gathering because I absolutely refuse every single time there's a new set that is released within Magic, and I'm talking about standard Magic, right? Every time there's a new standard set, it changes the land base, right? And so I have to go rebuy dual lands, triple lands, quadruple lands, quintuple lands, right, that are giving those special, and it drives me crazy. I don't have too much of a beef about paying $10 or $20 for a special, and sometimes much higher numbers, but not in standard. Generally in standard, cards never go over $50 in Magic Gathering. But I don't have a problem with charging, with spending $10 for a planeswalker, right? Or for a creature, or for a really cool spell, or for an artifact. My beef is every time there's a new set, I need to put in $50 to $150 just to fix the land base, right? And those lands are virtually identical to the lands that I was just dealing with. The only thing that has changed is the name and maybe a minor ability tweak on them, right? And so it is a grindingly painful part of Magic the Gathering where really Magic the Gathering is paying for new lands. That is where the majority of the money goes when you're building decks, even in standard. And one of the things that's really very strange is even when non-standard sets are released within Magic the Gathering, they can prompt cost changes in standard Magic the Gathering because they might reprint a land that's legal in standard, and now you have another version of it, right? And that's another issue is when you're running, they consistently reprint, dual lands, triple lands, quadruple lands, quintuple lands that come from older sets, making people need to go back and buy cards from older sets on the secondary market or buy the ones that are just reprinted in a new set, right? In that those new sets can be standard or non-standard. So that is the most brutal, painful part of Magic the Gathering, is paying $10, $5, $10, $15 a land for dual, triple, quadruple, quintuple lands, right? And you're just replacing the name on the card. It is painful, expensive, frustrating, debilitating. It is not good, right? And lands are baked into the design of Magic the Gathering so powerfully that it's hard to get away from this issue. So lands introduce an incredible amount of randomness in the decks themselves, and they guarantee that competitive play in Standard that no Standard deck ever, in my opinion, constructed is available for less than $100 within Magic the Gathering. I'm sorry, yeah, within Magic the Gathering. If it has dual lands, right? And that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And the other thing is, it's not just a lot of money for, oh, I got my deck and then I'm playing it. If you're in Standard, you're switching that thing out every 3 months. So it makes sure that, you know, and maybe every 4 months now, I guess. So it makes sure that at minimum you're paying, I think low end Standard play is $500 a year. And regular Standard play could easily run 10 grand a year if you're trying to be as competitive as possible. So that's the issue. Is it's a really, lands are absolutely the weakest part of Magic the Gathering, and you could see Richard Garfield fully understood this, and with Keyforge just said, boop, we're going to take that land out, right? And he did. And it makes Keyforge a much more balanced, much more dynamic game than Magic the Gathering, right? I do have much sympathy for Magic the Gathering because, well, I guess I don't really need to have sympathy for Magic the Gathering, because at this point, it doesn't appear that Keyforge is eating Magic the Gathering's lunch yet, right? One thing that I think is very interesting about Keyforge is that is going to continue to be there is so Magic the Gathering is a great product. It is a great game, and you know, every card game on the market is trying to defeat it. Every collectible card game, certainly. And I think what Keyforge does is, it is not defeating Magic the Gathering yet, but we're not even a month out from release on Keyforge, so we're going to see what happens overall. But the biggest thing is, if MTG stumbles, if it makes even a single or 2 or 3 missteps, it could be in some real trouble, because Keyforge is right there, right? Not giving them much room to move, not giving them much room to breathe, right? But overall, I think Keyforge really just absolutely points a laser beam at the biggest problem within Magic the Gathering, and that is the problem of lands. Lands is a serious problem. The last thing I'll say is just is on the land thing is, because this problem is so strong with double, triple, quadruple, and quintuple lands, right? It really incents people to play single color decks, and I see single color decks all the time. And the fact that players are having to, you know, rely on single color decks just to get their mana base even, again, just points to how much of a massive problem these lands are massive problem lands are within Magic the Gathering. It is the absolute largest weakness of the game's design. That's my take. I would love to hear your take. What do you think? Do you think, is there anyone out there who thinks that lands are a benefit to Magic the Gathering over Keyforge's complete removal of land? Also, I would love to hear, do you think there's any way to fix this? Is there any, you know, now that Keyforge is shining a laser beam on Magic the Gathering's absolute weakest game element, is there any way for Wizards of the Coast to fix the problem? Let me know. I'm really curious. Thank you, and have a wonderful day. Please consider liking and subscribing. Take care.